holding on here just for a moment, and we are starting the finally free Fit and Fabulous webinar right here. It's located at Old Orchard Beach in Maine. It is a beautiful rainy night here. So if everything kind of shuts down, it's just because we lose power. So just a little side note. Before I start, I just want to say thank you for taking some time out of your day to spend it here with me. I know that time is a precious commodity, and I'm so grateful for you to be here with me for just a few. It'll be about 45 minutes for this evening's webinar, and I hope you find some really great, valuable information. To start off, down either on the bottom of your screen or on the side, you will see a Q&A. So at any time during the training, feel free to click into the question and answer and pop it in a question, and I will answer it as we can in a pause or a break during the live training. If you're on Facebook, then you have a link to register, and you can pop in. You'll get something right from Zoom, and you can pop in, and then you will be able to ask a question. If not, you're just watching from the comfort of your own home, as are the attendees that are here this evening. So I'm going to get started. Let's dive right in, and I'm going to start with just a couple of questions here. So as we start this, I want you to just realize a few different facts. 95% of diets fail, 95%. So with this new year, how many people have gone on diets? I'll tell you, 45 million people started a diet on January 1st. It is now January 24th. At least 50% of the people have fallen off their New Year's resolution of starting a diet. 95% of diets fail, and the dieters regain the weight they lost, and then 66% of them actually gain even more. 91% of women are unhappy with their bodies. And they have these I hate my body moments every single day. And when you're saying that to yourself every single day, what is one of the first things that you might do? And that is to start a diet. And then 95% of them fail. So it's no wonder that we are in this society full of diet culture and full of the highest rates of obesity. 81% of 10-year-olds are afraid of being fat, which means they are getting the signs and signals earlier and earlier. 45 million people started a diet January 1st, and the diet industry is a $70 billion a year industry. Crazy numbers. I read a stat the other day that if all women started to wake up in the morning and feel good about themselves and not feed the diet industry, we would have an economic fallout similar to the one of 9/11. That's pretty amazing. So that is my hope, is that women will wake up feeling good about themselves and stepping into themselves. Let's move forward. So I want you to think about this for a second before we get started. How do you feel when you have to step on a scale? What comes up for you? What feelings, what thoughts, what words, what sensations in the body? Have to go to the doctor, it's time to get weighed. What does it feel like in your body? If you get any kind of reaction here, you know you're in the right place. And I want to share with you, if you're in the right place, this is for you. If you're tired of riding the dieting merry-go-round, a chronic yo-yo dieter, on and off diets, year after year after year, held prisoner in your thoughts around food and eating and weight and body image, that means it's a constant thought process, day in and day out. If you miss out on daily activities, if you don't go places because of the way you feel, you don't go to a reunion, you miss out on seeing people, you don't go to the beach, you miss out on experiences because of how you look and feel in your body. If you're an overeater, a binge eater, or an emotional eater, or if you're overwhelmed and frustrated and tired and stuck and just don't know where to turn because of all this conflicting information that's out there, I hope by the end of this live training, you will see, you'll have a little hope, and you'll see that there is a different and a better way. You're not alone. That's first. I want to share a little bit about my story so you can see where I come from and why I'm so passionate about this particular subject. So, my first diet was at about 10 years old. And it comes with, and I think that some of you might relate to this, it comes from this place where when I was 10, I had a nickname. There was a nickname in the neighborhood for me. And the nickname came into my body, and I just thought I was fat. It was a nickname that made me feel fat. Was it a fat nickname? I don't know at this point. All I knew is that I felt fat. And whenever they called me that name, it came right into my center, and I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. Then, so that was where I call that the seed. The seed was planted for my own body dysmorphia. And I went to the doctor with my mom, and the doctor told my mother, she better watches what I eat, which means I went back home, and then all of a sudden the rules were different. The family food rules were different. I was eating different things than my brother. I couldn't have certain things. I was being watched. So this was just more proof to me that I was fat. When I went school shopping, I had to go in a different section. I couldn't go in the shop in the regular section for the girls. I had to go to the husky section, a different section. All of these things fueled this thought that I was fat, and that was my first diet. Now, over the course of the past 40 years, I spent on a completely disordered eating track. Anorexia, bulimia, exercise compulsion, binge eating. That's kind of a continuum. And I've hit them all in different periods of time in my life. I look at this tree, and everything on that tree has been part of my life except for the picky eating. Have never been a picky eater, but everything else has been part of my life in different periods of time. In the 30 years that I spent in the exercise and fitness industry as a professional was some of the most damaging years for myself. The exercise industry actually fed my disorder. And it wasn't until the end of my career in the fitness industry where I was lying in the bed, waiting to get my knee replaced, realizing what I had done to my body, that I said, there's got to be a better way. I could not make diet and exercise work, and I couldn't help my clients, the hundreds of clients that I worked with over the 30 years that I was in the fitness industry, have the results, sustainable, long-term results that they wanted. So this is where I come from. It was at that point that I said, something's got to give, something has to change. I don't want to live this way anymore. And so I went back to school. And this is where I went back to school and became an eating disorder specialist. I knew that this was my passion. Lifestyle strategist, intuitive eating coach. I went back and started to heal myself. It was a journey. It has been a journey over the course of the past six or 7 years now that I have healed myself and come to this space of freedom and peace with food and eating. And now I'm helping others and sharing what I have learned along the way, because I don't want women to have to go through what I've gone through over the course of the last 40 years. So this kind of is all of the aspects put together. I always thought it was about exercise and diet, and that's where I failed. So this is what we're going to share tonight. A new perspective, something different. It's called the Finally Free, Fit, and Fabulous 5-step formula. The 5 steps include, and we're going to go through all of these. Eat intuitively, how to move and play with more joy, quieting that inner chatter, that inner critic, the self-sabotaging inner voice, appreciating and accepting your here and now body, this body right now, here and today. And then why self-care and lowering stress are really the keys to releasing weight, without any one of these steps, it really becomes much more difficult to release weight and to feel good in your body. I just want to share a little bit about why or how we came up with this particular name, Finally. And I think about finally, after 10, 20, 30 years of chronic dieting over yo-yo dieting, weight gain, weight loss, thoughts in my head, thoughts and thoughts and thoughts, 90%, 95%, 100% of my thoughts always about what we're getting free of. Dieting, restricting, weights, BMIs, food rules, food police, negative thoughts, shame, guilt, and worry about food and eating. So finally, after so many years, free of all this stuff and fit. Sometimes this can be misinterpreted, right? Fit, emotionally fit, less judgment, less criticism, less shame and guilt. Physically fit, to do the things that bring you joy, to do the things that are on your bucket list, to be able to do what you want to be able to do with your life physically and spiritually fit, to connect, to love, to be grateful, to be in your life, living in your life, and fabulous, so you can love what is in front of you, what's within you. Live with joy every single day, and connect more deeply with yourself, really getting in touch with yourself so you can share your gifts and talents, and thus that just kind of ripples out to all of those around you. Yeah, but it's everywhere, right? Everywhere you turn, there's diet information, BMI, keto, paleo. What's the answer? Especially if you're one of those 91% of women who are not feeling good in your body, why wouldn't these things look attractive, right? So why wouldn't we want to try something? It's all over the place. You cannot get away from it. You can't sit at a coffee shop and not hear conversations around diet, eating, food, weight. Media, television, magazines, movies, commercials, everywhere you go. This is why the very first step of this program is rejecting the diet mentality. Diets don't work. We heard it from the start. 95% of diets don't work. So let's talk a little bit about why. The traditional diet, let me talk about diets for 1 second. I'm going to pull back from this slide for 1 second and say, when we talk about a diet, let me share what I mean by that, because right now they're being masked a little bit by lifestyle change. This is just a lifestyle change. Well, let me kind of clarify the way I look at and I see a diet. So if I had my hand out and all food, every single food was in my hand, and I pull out one particular food, a series of foods, a group of foods in order to lose weight, that is a diet. So the objective is to lose weight. So anytime the objective is to lose weight, it is a diet. If, on the other hand, we take out a particular food or food group because it does not make us feel well physically, like upset stomach, bloated, gassy, right? Those kind of things. It doesn't make you feel good, stuffed up sometimes. That is a choice. So there's a difference between the objective, the end goal, losing weight, or the immediate goal of not feeling well. So that's what I mean when I talk about a diet. And some of the lifestyle programs out there are removing full food groups, are removing things from your diet in order for you to lose weight. So that's just something to keep in mind as we go forward. So the things that happen within a traditional diet, we have a slowed metabolism. Every time you go on a diet, your metabolism slows down. And when you stop the diet and you're adding more energy to your day, which energy meaning calories, the metabolism doesn't quite come right back up to where it was. It hangs out down low to make sure that it's getting enough to eat, and then it starts to come back up. And that is the period of time where there's weight gain. If you have a diet history, diet after diet after diet after diet, then you're looking at this metabolism really never being able to fully recover. And it also slows down quicker with each diet. The body gets it. It's like, oh, here she goes again. She's going on another diet. Let me slow down. Let me hold on to the weight because we don't know what's happening. So we have a slowed metabolism. The next thing that happens is we have a couple of hormonal things that happen during a diet. One is we have a hormone called ghrelin, which increases your appetite because the body knows it's not getting what it needs. So the ghrelin goes up, and we have another hormone called leptin. Leptin is the fullness hormone, the hormone that tells you when you're getting full, and that one goes down. So you're hungrier and you don't feel full. So that's working against you as well. And the last piece that's not on this slide is your cortisol, because when we put ourselves in restriction mode, it's internal physiological stress to the body because it's not getting what it needs. And that means that our cortisol levels kick up. Cortisol is our stress hormone, and our stress hormone, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, actually signals the body to hold on to weight. It says, hey, wait a minute, we got to protect ourselves. If you think about feast and famine back in the olden days, that they would go through long periods of time without food, and the cortisol was there for a reason, to hold on to weight so that they could make it through the fast. Unfortunately, that's still the way the body responds today. So rejecting the diet mentality that's our first step, because it's everywhere, and this is the step that we have to really hold on to and grasp and say no more. This is linked to, it's one of the parts to intuitive eating. So eating intuitively, intentionally, supportively for our bodies. These are just a few more components of intuitive eating that I'm going to talk about just a little bit. Trusting your hunger and your fullness. So what we're trying to do with intuitive eating is really start to get back in touch with your body, nobody else's body, just your body. And when it comes to trusting your hunger and fullness, our hunger has been kind of messed up maybe since we were babies. So if you think about a baby, the babies cry when they're hungry, I need food, and moms usually feed them. Unless the mom is on a schedule. Okay, my baby's going to eat every 4 hours. And if the baby cries after 3 hours, and the mom doesn't feed them until 4 hours, there's a disconnection of hunger right there. The other time that's pretty obvious that I like to explain about is a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, saying to mom at 5 o'clock, Mommy, I'm hungry. And the mom saying, well, dinner's only in an hour. You can hold on. We don't want you to spoil your dinner. And the child is, again, getting a disconnected or a different message. I'm hungry, but that doesn't mean I can eat yet. And then the same child will sit down to dinner and eat half of their plate and say, I'm full. And then there's the typical finish your plate. So there's already a disconnection to fullness. So it's no wonder that we're kind of the hunger and fullness cues in our body we're not in touch with. And so it's getting back in touch with these hunger and fullness cues that our body actually puts off. And your body knows how much it needs and what it needs. So that's one. Understanding satisfaction. The best analogy I have for this is, you go to a restaurant and you look at that menu and you see all the different things, and you know exactly what you want, and then you also know exactly what you should have. And from the experience with all my clients, if we eat what we should have, and I'm including myself in that, if we eat what we should have, what happens is we're not necessarily satisfied. And by the time we go home, we're foraging in the kitchen for something else to eat because it didn't satisfy us. Whereas if we eat what we really want, we are satisfied. And then when we get home, we don't seem to be foraging. We don't forage for food. So satisfaction is a really important part of intuitive eating. And then honoring your emotions with food. Really starting to understand what is the need and why we turn to food is very simple. If we're in an emotional state, angry, stressed out, depressed, sad, anxious, bored, right? Even tired, we turn to food because it fills that void. It fills the need. It pushes it down. It puts the body into rest and digest. So it's no wonder. I mean, it calms you down. So it's really trying to say, okay, well, what's the emotion? And let's take a look at it and let's find other ways to fill the need versus feed the need. So step 1 is eating intuitively and intentionally. Let's see what step 2 is. We're going to move to play, move, and exercise with joy. When it comes to exercise, for many people, it's a have to, a should, I need to. It's a I have to do. If I don't have a half hour, it's not worth it. If I don't have an hour, it's not worth it. I have to get my heart rate up to such and such. Lots of rules have been laid out over the past 20, 30 years about exercise. And this is where a lot of those exercise programs they're unsustainable, number one. If you don't like it, you're not going to want to do it. It becomes an additional stressor. Also, on top of that, there can be injury and pain involved with it, which pulls us away. So step 2 is finding things that make you feel playful, almost like a kid again. Moving the body. Our bodies are meant to move. As children, we like to move. But let's find ways that bring us joy and smile and give us a sense of, I want to go out and move. I want to go and make a snow angel, right? I want to go out and kayak. I want to go take a walk with my friend or my dog. And what we have come up with here at Shaping Perspectives is this 2x2x2 formula. It's disconnecting exercise from weight, burning calories, body size, and it's about, let's find the components that really help enhance our life, enhance our lifestyle. That's why you'll see the very first thing on this list is walking. Walking is one of the most baseline, foundational parts of this particular program because it frees you up for independence. We need to walk when we do almost everything. And starting walking can be very difficult if you're in pain. If you're in pain, and any of these activities that I talk about today are if there's that, I couldn't do that anyway. I want you to reach out to us because we can help with that, getting the body out of pain, because that's the first step. If you're in pain, nothing feels good. So we need to get you out of pain first. Once you're out of pain, then we start slowly with these steps. And this is our ultimate, right? 2x2x2, but it could start 1 by 1, right? And time is another thing that we've disconnected from. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever your body can do. So we're starting with walking, foundational walking. Fit Moves is functional fitness. It's functional training. And what I mean by that is, what kind of things do you want to be able to do in your life? Do you want to be able to get down on the floor and play with your grandchildren? Do you want to be able to pick up a grandchild? Do you want to be able to pick up a suitcase to travel? What kind of things do you want to do in your life that would require some physical strength? And we want to train around those with your body to develop strength for those particular activities. Also, as we age, our bones get a little bit more fragile. And so strength training really helps with the bone density piece. And that's another important factor. So 2 days of that. And again, 5 minutes to start is great. And we move slowly and progress into some 2 days of this functional strength training. And then 2 days of play fit. Play fit is anything. What do you love to do? It could be hula hoop, right? It could be sitting with a hula hoop. It could be dancing in your living room. It could be taking a walk around the bookstore. It could be playing a game of tennis or a game of golf. Anything that moves your body that is fun. It's enjoyable. You saw a picture of the drums in the last picture right back here. Oops, sorry. Ooh, back here, the drumming. Drumming is a great fun exercise. Getting out and playing in the snow, swimming. So lots, whatever feels good to you, that's what playfit is. So our movement part of our formula is about joy. I want to move my body. I like doing that. So let me get out and do that. And so let's move to step number 3. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to use that little Q&A button down below. Empowering your Maxi-Me mindset. So let me share a little story about Maxi-Me. We all have this critical voice. And for many of us, the critical voice is constant. It is strong, it is active, it gets louder and louder and louder. And what I did when I went to get trained as a self-talk trainer is that voice, I was able to disconnect. I kind of named that voice. I disconnected that voice, and I called it my mini-me, because my mini-me was pretty active. It had been active for years, not thin enough, not strong enough, not fit enough, not smart enough, not successful enough, whatever it was. And it pretty much was at me all the time. And so once I was able to kind of name it, I said, okay, I have this mini-me. I need something to help me with her, because she is pretty strong and loud and forceful. She lives pretty loud and forceful in my head. And so I developed Maxi-Me. So my Maxi-Me is stronger. She's positive. She's compassionate. She's caring. She's understanding. And I had to kind of work with her and train her to start to talk for me. So you'll see in this picture, choosing the Maxi-Me voice over the mini-me voice began to really shift the way I thought about myself and about everything around me. And one of the really great stories when it comes to this self-talk is what I call self-talk part. It really brings it home. So if you think about one of the critical voices in your head that goes over and over and over and over and over again in your head. I'm lazy, I'm fat, I can't do anything. Mine was always, I'm stupid, whatever it was, right? If we started that particular dialogue with ourselves when we're 5 or 6 years old, and if you picture if this path was all grass to start, and you walked on it at 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, 20 years old, you keep walking that path with the same verbiage, the same critical self-sabotaging verbiage, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And that becomes stronger. That's why my mini-me was so strong. She'd been going and going and going and going and going. And so in order to change, we've got to create a new pathway. And if you look at this, if you're going to step out of this pathway, is that going to be comfortable? Not really. When we start to step out and start to use a different voice, it's uncomfortable because the old voice is so comfortable. And yet that's what we have to do, is create a new pathway in the brain. And our brain is moldable, and we can create a new pathway. And so one of the tools that we use here at Shaping Perspectives is Self-Talk Plus, which is a series of different audios that you can just put on in the background that start to flood your brain with positive words and phrases that your brain has just not heard. And just like as we talk about that 2-year-old that was pulling on mom's shirt, she or he learned to talk via just listening to what's around, the words that were around. And so this helps build our stronger Maxi-Me so that it has some new verbiage to start to change the patterns and create new pathways. So we've got intuitive and supportive eating, we've got moving and playing with joy, and now we've got empowering this Maxi-Me and changing the inner dialogue. We're not done yet. Step number 4, I call it practicing body AA. Accepting your body for what it is and can do today. Appreciating its own uniqueness So it's accepting and appreciating your body. Your here and now body is what I call it. Today's body. So the analogy I use with this is I call it the good gift, bad gift. If you think about, a holiday, a birthday, anything like that, and you get a gift that is not really for you. It's we'll just call it the bad gift. We've all got them. You open it, you thank the person, right? And then what happens to the gift? The gift goes in the closet, it gets regifted, it goes to Goodwill. Nothing really happens with it. It gets lost or thrown away. On the other hand, if you get a good gift, and we've all gotten one of those, you wear it, you put it up, you take care of it. It's something that's precious to you, and you enjoy it and like it and take care of it. And so if we are constantly berating our body, think back at that 91% from the very beginning, that very first slide, 91% of women are unhappy with their bodies or talking poorly about their bodies. If we don't care about our body, or if we hate our body, the result is going to be we don't tend to take care of the body, or we punish the body. And so really thinking about, how do we learn, and this is what we do when we move through this process, how do we learn to appreciate the body, this body, starting steps to appreciate this here and now body, because this is the body you're in, and this is where we're starting. What happens is, well, when I lose the weight, then I'll do that. And when I can fit into this, then I'll go there. Well, what are you missing out on today, here and now, in this body? Let's pause for a second and start to accept this unique body and move from there. This is a tough one, but it's linked to self-talk, it's linked to moving, and it's linked to intuitive eating. And so that's why it's an important step in this process. And now I'm going to move into step 5, engaging in daily self-care to stress less. Without this component, the rest of this doesn't work. This was kind of the last piece in the puzzle of my own healing, was this self-care. Because as women, we do for everybody, and we fill, I think about a cup, right? Empty, 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 empty. Everybody else not taking care of self, because we've been told that's selfish. If you take time to take care of yourself, that's being selfish. Well, what happens is we are in a state, especially in society today, of chronic stress, because not only do we have internal physiological stress due to lack of sleep or fuel or exercise, over-exercise, wrong kind of exercise. There's internal physiological stress. And then we have external stress. We have family stress. We have work stress. We have relationship stress. We have all kinds of stressors on the outside. With stress, we raise that level of cortisol. And if that level of cortisol is high, what's that doing to the body? Again, we're thinking about, okay, so the body's in high stress mode. It's holding on to fat cells to protect the body. And so starting to decrease that stress is actually one of the first steps in releasing weight. It's not eating and it's not moving. It's reducing stress to get the body to start to trust you again. It's that whole body, you trusting the body and the body trusting you. So let's talk a little bit about self-care and stress. There are many, many ways that we can start to take care of ourselves. And what that looks like is what feels good to you, what relaxes you. That's not food. What brings a smile to your face, what brings you in that gets you into that flow. You can go and do something and you don't even, you don't think about the time. And for a lot of, like for me, I didn't even know, I had to experiment. I didn't know what I even liked when it came to kind of play activities or activities that were more self-care generated. So here's just a few different examples of what self-care might look like. Writing, drawing, coloring. Music is a great kind of a great thing to utilize. Singing, dancing, playing music, listening to music can change your state. And when you think about music, if you're in a sad and depressed state, think about the type of music that you tend to choose. It's usually sad and depressing music, which kind of pulls you further down into that space of added stress, isolation, depression. So thinking about listening to music that is uplifting, positive energy music, getting a massage, a self massage, a massage out, or a manicure, getting outside. Oxygen is a huge piece of this self-care. It's kind of one of our basics, right? Getting outside. Just stepping outside and walking around your house once can be a huge shifter in the way that you feel in your body. Biking, swimming, anything outside in nature. There's a lot of research now on the forest bathing. That's the same kind of thing. Just get out, put your feet. Nowadays, now this temperature here in Maine is a little bit too cold. Putting your bare feet on the snow, but we can do it. We've done it on the beach in the sand. But putting your feet on the grass, the sand, the dirt, leaves, it's really wonderful for the body. Connecting with friends. Another great stress reliever. Playing with a pet, walking a pet, patting a pet, shower or bath. There's lots of research on water and the healing power of water. Laughter is another key. What is it that makes you laugh? Watching a funny movie, a funny YouTube clip, a person that makes you laugh. Self-care is not a luxury. It's a necessity. And if you find yourself saying, well, yeah, but I don't have enough time, it's one of those yeah buts that comes back. Can you listen to one song on your drive to work that puts you in uplifts your mood? Can you sit down on the floor and play with your dog for 3 minutes? Can you call a friend and talk for 5 minutes, right? It's finding the little things, pausing and breathing. What's not on here is breathing, right? Breathing, meditation. There's lots of different meditations. We have meditations on our online learning cafe that you can get from us that I'll share with you. But that's, meditations, 5-minute meditations, 10-minute meditations to relax the body. So there's lots of different ways to start developing a self-care habit into your life daily. So this finally Free Fit and Fabulous formula is a combination. It's synergistic and comprehensive. It's all of these things coming together. It's not just one thing. It's all of them together that make this work. One can do a little bit, two can do a little more. It's when you put all of these together that things start to really happen, not only physically for your body, but emotionally and spiritually as well. Here's a great quote from one of my clients. I better appreciate my body and food now. My head space is so much more expansive, free and happy because I'm not spending time adding up calories or worrying about how last night's dessert would show up on the scale. Headspace. How much headspace are you using now on all of this chatter about body or weight or food or exercise, all of it? So I've shared a lot of different things with you today. And if you think about it, what one thing, right, might be, is there a step that kind of excites you, right? That can be something that you're doing differently. I love this quote, doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And it really doesn't have to be that way. It's about taking a look at what you're doing now and saying, what can I do differently? because how has it been working for you? If you were in the same boat that I was for 40 years, I was doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and nothing was working until I figured out that there were many more steps I needed to put in place. So it doesn't have to be this way. So if you think about those 5 steps, is there one, right, that you go, that one would be really good for me to start working on? You should think about that for a second, because there's a different way and a better way to move through this. And I want to share an opportunity with you that talks about how can you begin to pull all of these pieces together. And it is called the SOS Community. It's a 6-month, finally free, fit, and fabulous support and accountability community. I have done a couple of these communities, and it's a fabulous space where women who struggle with the same thing come together, feel validated, feel supported, feel encouraged, feel heard, and feel seen. It's an amazing space. Let me talk to you a little bit about, a little bit about what it entails and what it looks like. What we do is we meet online on a platform just like this on Zoom, and you can see everybody's picture so everybody can see each other, and we talk. There's an educational process. There's some education involved. We're sharing what's working and we're sharing what's not working. And then we're leaving the call with steps, with actions to follow through for the week. What are we going to focus on? What are we going to work on as we move through this week? And you know that the whole group is doing it with you. All of these sessions are recorded. They're recorded right on the Zoom, and then we load them up into a private portal specifically for you. Only you can get in there, so that if you happen to miss a session, you can get in and watch so you don't lose any of the content. Then we check in too. So after a few days after our call, we email check in. Everybody kind of comes into the email stream, talks about what's working for them, talks about some of their experiences, so that we're still staying connected through the week. You also get the comprehensive You Are Enough 5-step guide. So this is what we use, this is where we go, and then we add activities and different things as the weeks go on, and you get workbook handouts, kind of things, activities and sheets that you get to utilize as well through this process. You get put into a membership, the Diet Free membership, the Diet Free Sisterhood. This is our Facebook page, and we have all of our people on our Facebook page. We have weekly journaling prompts, support, connection. This is where people share lots of different, memes and different things like that. There's always inspirational things we post here, but it's also a place for support when things aren't going so well, when you just need someone to talk to or to vent, and you can't, and there's nobody around, or you don't feel comfortable. This group gets it. So this is a private, closed online membership forum. You also get 30-day free trial to the Self-Talk Plus that I was talking about, with a series of over 100 different audios that you can start to listen to today to start creating new pathways. And one of the bonuses that we're offering is a kitchen rescue pack. And it's got lots of different recipes. It shows you how to pull together meals and some super shakes. So it's just kind of gives you an idea of how do we create a sustainable, satisfying meal and move forward. So this is just a bonus that happened that we're putting in with this program. This is one of the SOS participants. One of the SOS groups has continued on. We finished up in December, and we have this, they've decided to keep going. So we're going to continue to go, culminating in a live event right here in Maine with this group. So exciting. But she wrote this right after the holidays. The holidays were so much calmer this year. There were many things I could have stressed about, but I didn't. And for sure, I thought I was going to eat, but I didn't even have to, but eat was not even on a short list of things I might have contemplated. Being enough, just like I am, whether I'm in trying to accomplish or whether I should impress or worse. Somebody might think about what I put on my plate. Those are all changes I've made because of the work I've done with you all. My work, but certainly inspired by someone or something from this group. So the connection of the women has been amazing for me as a facilitator to watch. But that's the richness of this particular group. So just for a moment, imagine the thoughts about food are no longer obsessive. There's much more space in your brain. You have a greater sense of trust in your body. You honor your hunger and your fullness. You're making peace with food. You consistently choose what you really want to eat when you are hungry. And you trust your body's intuitive abilities. And the body is beginning to trust you as well. There's hope, and it can be different. One of the intuitive eating clients, best news ever. I don't appear to be obsessed with sweets all the time. It's strange and fabulous. In the past, I spent all this time and energy, mostly emotional energy, I think you can understand that, planning, eating, and feeling bad about myself. No wonder I have so much energy. So the SOS community is $147 a month for 6 months. It includes 12 virtual coaching sessions and the recordings as well, the email check-ins, the accountability, the You Are Enough guide, the kitchen pack, the self-talk, and the membership into the Diet Free Sisterhood. There's so much richness in this group. It gives you support. So as I finish up, this work for me is what I want to be doing, because I can see people beginning to crack the shell that they've been hiding underneath and stepping out, kind of emerging out into these beautiful people by having a safe space and being able to let go of some of the things that you may have never said to anyone, letting go of some of the shame, letting go of some of the guilt, understanding that you are human and understanding that you're not alone, and then getting the skills and the tools to move forward and to change habits. Change is hard, but when you're doing it with other people, it makes it easier. And as we move forward, you have lots of different things to experiment with to move out of the space that you're in now and into a space where you can begin to really live your life again. And creates a safe space where we can openly share any struggle with eating, movement, coping with stress, and emotional management. And is deeply committed to supporting women with shaping a new perspective of themselves and encouraging a healthier ways of self-care. Working with her has been life-changing. She has taught me that I can be joyful in my body just as it is right now. Yes, if you need help, support with eating and fitness and stress management or body issues, contact her now. This is from Abby. So this could be you. We believe at Shaping Perspectives, anything is possible and success is inevitable. I hope you'll join us to love what is, live with joy, and connect more deeply with yourself and with others. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can do that right on the website at shapingperspectives.com, or you can email me at annie@shapingperspectives.com. This is a limited group. I only take 10. We have 7 slots left. I would love for you to join us if this is something that's interesting to you. I'm going to be finishing up here, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat box. Again, I really appreciate you being here. And if this has been a lifelong struggle for you, or even a short-term struggle, and it's taking away from your quality of life right now, I encourage you to check out the Support Over Struggle page and see if this could be your next step into your future. So I'm going to say good night. thank you for spending time with me. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you in the Support Over Struggle group.